Welcome back, everybody. We're here talking about the Russian Grand Prix. Cue the music.
Russian Roulette 2021. It's probably my least favorite one to watch live. I mean, it can be interesting, but if we're talking about history and facts, Mercedes has been super dominant, and I got a good feeling that Red Bull and Mercedes are going to be lapping people by, lap 40.
Mm.
So it could, I have a feeling it's, because the wide turns, the huge slowdowns, if you're going by sector, Sector 1 and Sector 2 have the straightaways, and then Sector 3 is just kind of garbage. A lot of slow turns, not a lot of room for overtaking, even though I'm sure we'll see some madman from the back do crazy takeovers, but for the most part, I have a good feeling it's gonna be a Mercedes race.
3.634 miles is the track length. Oh, this is interesting. The race length is 192 miles. That's
100,
nuts.
192, that's a lot of racing. That's a
That's a
lot of fuel
lot
being
of
burned.
racing. Yeah.
But yeah, if looking at the map layout, it just looks boring. Leave it to the Russians to make a track that looks exactly like a 12-year-old made their first Formula One track.
So I've played this on F1, the game, and I actually really enjoy the track. I don't know, as a spectacle, I think this is around the time that I started watching Formula One last year. But back then I was watching just the highlights, so I wasn't even watching the races. So what I don't like is that it's going to be at 7 a.m. our time, Texas time, and that's going to suck. Definitely going to watch it from my bed if I get up live to watch it.
Yeah, I'll definitely watch the highlights.
Yeah.
No, I'll probably tune in and watch the whole thing when I have a chance, but definitely not waking up at 7 a.m. for this one. If we go into a little bit of facts for the race, the Russian Grand Prix, built in 2014, was built during the Olympics, and previously, when it was the Soviet Union, they wanted to build a racetrack for Formula, and it never really worked because, as you could imagine, the Soviet Union was not the most organized,
Mm.
and it kind of fell apart. But once it was finally built and ready in 2014, Mercedes has been dominant throughout the years. Nobody's won on this track besides Mercedes. It's been Hamilton 4 times and Bottas twice.
And the first race was held in 1913. I think they had it 2 years, right? 1913 and then 1914 and then.
That was not this track, but the Russian Grand Prix. Yes, they did it for 2 years until that tricky little thing in history they like to call World War One happened
Mm.
and completely abandoned the racetrack. But as you could imagine, 1913, 1914 racetracks were very different, very dangerous. Now this is a lot more modern, organized, and in terms of safety, it's pretty safe. You're not getting crazy speeds. There's two DRS zones, there's two straightaways. There's a lot of 90-degree turns. There's one medium speed turn right after the first straightaway, but even then, those are just not very interesting to watch. You want to see those big straightaways. You want the DRS zones. And I know a lot of racers, from what I've been seeing, they enjoy the faster tracks, and this kind of isn't one.
I like that big old semicircle that's in the middle of the track.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty insane. I think that's why I like it in the game. It's so fun to do that.
yeah, you get a lot of G's going down. You're trying. It's all about speed and timing, and but as you see, it doesn't come like you don't swoop into that turn to carry a lot of speed. It's a 90-degree angle just to get into that semicircle, and then a 90-degree out. So it's not like you don't get to carry as much speed as you should be able to.
Yeah, when I was watching Nico Rosberg do like a kind of guide to the track, and he said that entire circle or the semicircle, you're getting 2.5 Gs.
I'm sure that's plenty. That's enough to make your cheeks wobble for sure.
So the weather's going to be looks like it's going to be rainy for qualifying and for the race, but it looks like it's going to be light rain. I don't think it's going to be nothing too heavy.
Yeah, it's not going to be a repeat of this year where they're going to can't basically cancel the race.
It's
But
going to be cold too. That I think that's what's interesting. I wonder how that's going to affect the tire temperatures and grip levels and all that. And if it's especially if it's raining, I think that's going to affect. That's going to throw in a wild card for a lot of the drivers. Create maybe some accidents and some underdog situations.
I guarantee you we're going to see a spin or two on Friday, even on Saturday. I'm hoping people are going to get good lap times in on Saturday. We'll see. Maybe Williams can come out with a
P
miracle
two.
P1, P2. Yeah, from the rain. I mean, hey, Mr. Saturday, Professor Saturday, as we know him now,
Hmm.
could come in and do it, especially with the conditions lining up, looking like 80% chance of rain and pretty big gusts of wind. And it's going to be overcast, so yeah, really cool on the track. Going to be interesting to see what kind of tire compounds they come out with and what really dominates, because I know in the rain, softs do perform better than the harder compounds. First, I
Yeah.
mean, obviously wets and intermediates handle better, but if you get caught out in the rain on soft tires, it's still possible to get a decent lap in before it gets too wet.
Hopefully it doesn't create a situation where they're only using intermediates, and they actually get to use, some dry temperature or some dry weather tires. Because I want to see people go fast. I want to see them go zoom zoom.
Obviously, they're really close to the Black Sea, so being near a body of water, the weather can change pretty rapidly.
Yeah,
So we could see the weather progress and slow down and have a wet Sunday, or we could see it speed up and free practice is just going to be rainy, which is okay. But it is interesting because they're going to have to switch up how they're going to set up their cars. Because
yeah,
Saturday they're going to have to set up a wet car for the track, and then Sunday they're going to have to readjust it and kind of hope, because there's no more practice after that. They're going to have to, see if their setups work well in drier conditions, or maybe, they already know they're going to work on Friday's free practice and set up a dry condition, and then Saturday they're just going to kind of wing it so
I
they can have
wonder.
the Sunday ready.
I wonder how stressed the engineers get when it's like rain is forecasted. Like, do they see this and be like, it's gonna be a tough day at the office, or are they like, hell yeah, let's do it. Let's get this unsuspected podium finish.
Yeah, I mean, rain definitely changes a lot. Like, you will see some people come out of the woodwork who will put in great laps. I mean, really risk it to get a good lap in. I think engineers are more worried about somebody crashing, spinning out, damaging something, and then they have to work their asses off to get the car ready for Sunday.
For Sunday or even qualifying, right? If they
Yeah.
crash in free practice three.
Yeah, and a lot of these teams are getting really close to penalty levels where if they mess up, they damage their vehicle. They damage an engine or exhaust, and then they have to take a grid penalty for it.
Yeah. Yeah, and speaking of grid penalties, and I guess we can segue into what our predictions are going to be. Do you think Max is going to take a grid penalty? I was watching the driver's press conference, and he said they don't really know yet. So I think they're gonna wait until qualifying to kind of determine if that's going to be the case.
I have absolutely no idea because I feel like if he gets P1 on Saturday, why, he doesn't want to give up those points. It's so neck and neck.
Yeah,
But if somehow Hamilton does bad, which I 100% doubt that he's going to do bad enough that they're just like, fuck it, take the penalty. It's. I thought they would have done it earlier. They still haven't. They're going to have to at some point, and that's one thing I really can't speculate on. It's up to them. I'm sure they're trying to keep it hush hush because they don't want Mercedes to know and to
yeah,
give them a better chance of understanding how hard they have to push for the race.
yeah. It'll be cool if he starts from the back and ends up on the podium still, which is possible, depending on the car.
With this track, definitely. I could see him, like, if he gets P1, starts P11 after the penalty, I could see him finish podium for sure. I mean, their cars are just so much faster than the rest of the grid. Red Bull and Mercedes both have insane pace, and they showed that. What race was that? Where they lapped everybody? That was 2 races ago. What was
Is it?
that one?
I
The
believe that
Netherlands.
Netherlands.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Netherlands just really showed how a tight technical track can really make Verstappen and Hamilton push.
Yeah. So who do you think is going to finish on the podium?
Oh man, I think it's going to be Hamilton or Mercedes. Bottas might do it unless they, call him up and say, hey, you're going way too fast. You need to slow down.
You need to give this to Hamilton.
Yeah, this is Hamilton's race. You're going to be out next year anyways. I do have a feeling that Mercedes is going to perform really strong. I think from the McLaren side of things, I don't think they're going to do good unless there's another big crash. I don't think this is McLaren's race to win. They've been so unpredictable with these kinds of tracks that it's like I'd love to see them do good again. I have no hope for them. I would not put my money on McLaren. Maybe obviously like P6, P7, but
I think for podium finishes for me, I think we're gonna see Bottas first. I think we're gonna see Hamilton second, and I think Max is gonna take the grid penalty because I think it's gonna be a wash in terms of Mercedes, and so I think they're gonna take the grid penalty, and so I think Perez is gonna finish third. He's gotten a podium here. I forget what year he got a podium. I think it might have been 2015 though that he got a podium here at Sochi. So he did it with Baku, where he had a podium in an inferior car before, and he was able to win that one. So I think he's going to be able to get a podium. And the reason I think Max may not do so well is because I have a feeling they're going to crash again.
you think they're going to crash
I
again?
have a feeling that if they're close to each other, so let's say he doesn't take that grid penalty, I have a feeling they're going to crash together because they're not going to give up space. They've already shown that they don't want to give up any space to each other.
Yeah, and
And
if
so,
they try and overtake in those 90-degree turns, which there are plenty of them this track, it will get hairy.
yeah, they're just going to slam into each other. So that's why I predict that that's the podium. I think a surprise for the weekend, I think we're going to have Antonio Giovinazzi finish somewhere in the points, probably like a 10th place.
Really?
I think that's my wild card prediction. More
Okay.
so, more so because I want him to do well. I think it's confirmed that he's basically going to be out of the team. So it'd
Yeah.
be nice if he went out with a bang.
That's one hell of a wild card pick. I'm going with in terms of teams, I'm going with AlphaTauri being fourth best team this week. If Yuki
Ooh,
Tsunoda can keep it on the track, I really want to be mad at him, but I can't because they're all incredible racing drivers. It's just fun to mess with them. But if Yuki Tsunoda can keep it on the track, Gasly, I'm sure he's going to perform just fine. He's going to be beautiful in the midfield. If Tsunoda can keep it P9 and hold on to it and have a decent race, they're going to be Alpine in terms of points,
for
in terms
sure.
of the Constructors' Championship, and because they're neck and neck. For me, I think it is going to be Ferrari this week. I think McLaren's going to be stepped down, and they're going to keep switching off third and fourth spot. But I don't have a good feeling about McLaren on this track.
Yeah, in terms of teams that I hope can make it to the top, I know Kimi Räikkönen's back from COVID, so maybe he'll be the one to finish in the points versus Antonio Giovinazzi. I just really want to see Alfa Romeo do really well because I do like that team.
I mean, you can keep dreaming, man. Like I said, if Saturday turns out to be really wet, there could be some pretty crazy grid places. You know, there could Williams could have a top three start if George Russell is really pushing for it. I'm sure he wants to perform for his new team. He wants to show off and be like, "This is what you're paying for, so be ready for it."
Yeah, get ready for the super qualifying session and then immediately losing ground to the much faster cars at this race start.
But I do think Alfa Romeo is that's a stretch and a half.
Yeah, maybe. So I guess we'll see. We'll probably try to do a video on post qualifying. I think then we'll be able to kind of get a way better feel of where the grid's gonna end up.
Yeah, but it's up in the air right now as of weather. If there was no weather predicted and everything was fine, it'd probably be an easy 1, 2, 3 prediction. But we're gonna have to see. Top 10 is gonna be really interesting, especially the third qualifying sector. I'm gonna have fun watching it.
With I would have predicted Max winning, getting pole and winning because his car is just so strong this year. It is in most cases faster than the Mercedes.
Oh yeah.
So I would predict that he would have won it. But he started off the weekend at the drivers' conference wearing a flat brim cap, and so far every time he's wore a flat brim cap, he's DNF'd.
Yeah, we'll put the picture up just to prove it. That is actual science. That is Formula One science. You heard it here first.
You come here for the stats and stay for the shitty conversations.
Hmm